Okay, so it is Inktober, and I'm mostly following with most of the prompts this year. There's just a couple that I just don't want to do. Today is the Inktober prompt is suit, and frankly, I don't want to do it. So the goal is not to follow every single prompt, but the goal is to do something with ink. It's just to get you going, get you ideas, kind of just getting you creating. And so today I am doing my Inktober with Flair pens and these TUL pens. I absolutely love these things, but I keep forgetting to buy more. Anyway, I just messed up my thing. Anyway, so what I've done is I have tested out all of my ink and kind of to see, let me scoot this where you can see what I'm talking about. So I've tested out all of my colors and kind of see how they blend together, and what order I want to use them in, that kind of thing. And I've already arranged them over here to the side in the order that I need them to be in. And so the first part is, and what you're seeing is that I have sketched out with my lightest color the flower that I want to draw. And given my druthers, I will almost always draw flowers. I don't know why. I guess because they don't have to be perfect. Flowers by their very nature are all different, and none of them are perfect. So it's just, for me, when I just need to draw something and not feel pressure, I will always go to a flower because every petal can be different. They don't have to be perfect shapes. I can really just get into just creating. So flowers are almost always going to be my go-to for that. Anyway, so I am taking my lightest color and I'm shading in where I want everything to be. There are a lot of different artistic terms for what I'm doing, but I don't really think that terminology matters as much as just the doing. So instead of getting into those weeds, we're just going to talk about what I'm doing. So I'm shading in all of these petals, and some of them I'm shading in more than others because I want to leave space for my other colors that are going to come into this. And my basic goal right now is to just kind of see where my shadows are going to be and where where each petal is going to live. So at first I kind of went around, and you saw that I kind of sketched it out kind of roughly. And I hold my pen way off when I do that, because I really just don't want to put a lot of ink on what I'm doing. And I didn't sketch this out with a pencil first. This is all just freehand, kind of me just, I've drawn this so many times that I can just kind of freehand it. But what I've also noticed with drawing this type of like lily flower is that if I make like these shapes, these like S shapes, that they all connect in this like beautiful flowy kind of way, which makes it so much easier to draw. So if you pay attention to things that you draw a lot, and how your hand and how the shape flows, you'll just kind of get into a rhythm. Like you'll see how this kind of flows around like that, and then this one flows back. And so they kind of mirror each other all the way around. You'll have that mirroring of that kind of, let me see if I can draw it over here for you. It's kind of this S shape, and then it S shapes back, and then another like over here, and you just kind of mirror it all the way through. You can almost draw it without picking up your pen. And then you just kind of go in and fill it in. I don't know if you actually got to see that. Let me lift that up for you. So I'll do another one for you. So you do kind of this S shape, down, S shape up. Oh, sorry, I got concentrated on, yeah, so they kind of mirror each other as you go back and forth. That's really how I'm doing it. And then, let me put you down. There you go. So, and then again, I just kind of go in and fill in where I want my shading and my dark and my light to be. As I've said before, start with discovering where your light source is going to be. If you already know, like, if your light source is going to be direct or if it's going to be from over this way or that way, that's going to give you a clue as to where your shadows are going to live. So I've kind of decided that my light source is over here, mainly because it's easier to pretend that my light source is my left hand, because I'm left-handed. And so it's easier to get heavier handed and kind of over on this direction than it is to get heavy handed over here for me. So you'll see, like, my shadows are going to be more to my right than to my left. So like this is going to be in shadow, but it's tucked underneath this one. So I want to make sure that this is going to be a little bit darker because it's in the foreground. So I'll see more of that than I'll see of this one because it's way back here in the back, tucked behind this one. And then it kind of overlaps over here over this one. So this one is going to be my very back one. So this one is going to be my lightest one. So when I fill it in, I have to keep in mind that that one is on the very bottom. But we're working on this one right now, which is kind of in this middle area. So this one laps over it. So I want to make sure that I have that nice and dark, so I know where this one ends and this one begins. It's kind of difficult right now because I'm just kind of doing it all in the same color. So knowing where one ends and one begins really depends on making those heavy pen strokes in one area. And remember, we've discussed before, the more you go over something, the darker it will become because you're putting more of that ink into the paper, or whatever you're using, graphite, ink, paint, whatever. So this is on watercolor paper. It's 100% cotton paper. It's the same that I used before. It's linked on my website for you to purchase. And I don't remember the category. But yeah, you can find all of the links to most of what I use on the regular basis that you can purchase on Amazon. Those things are listed on my website, ladyskycreations.com, if you're interested. Not everything there is cost effective, so if you're looking for cheaper versions, I've seen so many wonderful art supplies at like Five Below. Sometimes if you search like the clearance bin at different places like Michael's or Joann's, you can find good watercolor paper that's just in there that they're just trying to lower their stock. So, I mean, don't feel like you have to go out and purchase what I'm using just because I'm using it. That's, I want to say silly, but that's judgmental, and I don't mean to be judgy. But yeah, it's not necessary for you to go out and purchase anything just because I use it. any paper that you have laying around will do. I just choose the watercolor paper because I know that I'm going to put a lot of ink into this, and if I used like this this copy paper like this is, then I know it would just bleed right through. And that's another reason why I folded this paper over, is because I wanted to test on it and be able to do work on it while I used this and not have to worry about it bleeding through to my work that I'm actually doing. So you see that I'm kind of leaving places where I'm going to come in with darker later, and I know that that darker ink is going to just cover this up, so there's no point in wasting the ink where those darker pigments are going to live. My main goal here is to just get it filled in to where I want my light purple to be. Let me give you some that lovely scritchy ASMR. I put tape down on the table so when I move my pad here, I can keep it to where the camera can still see it. A little filming tip for you if you're doing videos of what you're doing. And of course, I would love to see anything that you're working on. Share that with me over at Lady Skhi Creations Facebook group page. There's going to be a link to that in the description down below. So today, this is what I'm working on. It's just creating these flowers. It is hashtag InkTober, and so my goal is to just use ink today, kind of artistically zone out into something I'm comfortable. Okay, so it just occurred to me that I should probably explain to you what I'm doing. So I'm using my carving tool. Again, you can use anything sharp, anything that you would like that would scratch or kind of damage the paper. So what I'm doing is I am using this and I'm removing the top layer of the paper. So I'm not really, I'm down here for control, but I'm not going really hard. I'm just gently removing that top layer and just kind of scraping it away. And then I'm taking my tacky eraser and just removing that excess. Just removing what I've scratched off. And then I'm going to come back in with my my lightest color, and I'm going to fill in and blend in, kind of like what I did here, blend in all of these colors to create that blended effect. So one way to blend like pens and markers is to just remove a layer. Some people call this etching. There are a lot of different names for what this is, but this is just a process that I enjoy because it's really a great de-stressor to kind of destroy my art as I do it. It's just kind of one of those fun things for me. So that's what I'm doing. I'm just kind of gently removing the layer. See, I'm not scratching it all away. I'm just removing a layer of the paper. Really just kind of that top layer. And leaving behind the ink that is soaked into the paper. And I'm just doing that in kind of a stylized way, because what I would like is I would like it to look like the light is hitting it in a certain direction, which, you know, once you get all of your ink on, it's easier to remove and blend once I have all of my ink on. Well, it's easier for me. See, like all of this ink is here, but I'm going to just remove that layer where that light is hitting. So I will be going all the way up to here with this removal, and I'm going to leave this bottom shadow part alone. So that's what you're seeing me do. And this is a store-bought tacky eraser. You can make your own. I keep meaning to make a video, and I did make a video on how to make one, and I didn't like it, so I didn't post it. But there are ways of making your own tacky eraser, but this one is store-bought. Store-bought is fine if you don't have your own. So what I'm doing here is I want to remove a good bit of this, but not all of it. So I'm leaving a long line here, and then I'm kind of just scratching through it so that I have those like pixels rather than the whole line. If anyone remembers those like dot matrix printers, that's kind of what I'm going for. Like if you put it under a microscope, that's what it would look like. So just, oh, excuse the dryer, thank you. So I'm scratching, so the lines are going this way, and I'm scratching across them to break them up, you see? And I'm not breaking up the whole line, just a good bit of it. And then here I have a line that's kind of, it's this line right here that's going this way. So I want to break it up a little bit. So I'm going to go up and down on it, and then go back to, and sometimes I might even have to come at it at an angle just to get it to break up a little bit more. So that's what I'm doing. That's what you're seeing in the video. Enjoy. Let me try to explain this. I'm really working on explaining things better. So I wanted to make sure that all of my colors are blended and they look like they grew organically together. The only way to get, let me show you what I mean. The only way to get this color was to first get this color. So the only way to get that color was to put all of the colors on the flower. The next step, remove away this color so that I can add back in this color. I'm almost 100% positive that does not make any sense, but that is literally the best that I can try to describe what I'm doing. It's kind of one of those situations where you have to tell a story in order to tell a story. In this situation, I have to make a color into this color before I can get this color, because this color comes from blending my original purple with this color. The only way to get here is to first get here and then go back here. I hope that helps. I hope that at least kind of explains what I'm trying to do. Yeah, let me know if that doesn't make any sense. Thanks.